Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial will be on sorted algorithm. So today I will teach you guys inserted sort. So to teach you guys this, let me give you guys, this is an array. I didn't draw this very well. Let me clear this. Let me draw it. This is an array of numbers. In this array, let me just use a very little array size as an example. So let's assume I have my first element here is 4. The second element is 1, and the third element is 5. In this array will be divided into two, sorted and unsorted. You know this array, this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2. So this array will be divided into sorted and unsorted. Let me demarcate it. This is sorted and this is unsorted. So for my sorted list, I will give it a variable. I will name it J. For my unsorted list, I will name it I. So to sort this list, I will have a pointer named temp, TMP, temp. Temp will be pointing at the first element in my unsorted array. So to sort this list, compare this, wherever the pointer is pointing to, which is temp, whatever it's pointing to, you compare it with what you have here. Like in my index 0 here, I have 4. Compare it, 4 is greater than 1. Since 4 is greater than 1, you have to write shift 4. When you write shift 4, 1 will be here. So our list will be looking like this. We have 1. We have 4. And I'm not supposed to add this. We have 1, we have 4. And we have 5. This is our sorted list. This is unsorted. Then now, when you now compare this with this, compare it with what we have in your array, in what you have in your sorted list. When you compare this, you can see that 5 is greater than 4. Since 5 is greater than 4, instead of right shifting as before, you now have to left shift. When you left shift, it will now be your array will now be arranged at 1, 4, and 5. Now, with this little knowledge you have now, let's now go to our Linux and code it. So let's go to our Linux. Let's create a file. Let's name this sort.c. So let's include our header file. Include stdio.h. Let me also include map.h. Include map.h. Then let's create our first function, the insert function. So void insert. Insert function will be having 2 arguments. Int array. Let's say int a. So that I won't keep writing ARR. Just know that this is the array. Then this is the length of the array. Int L. Or the number of elements in the array. Let me use M. You get number of elements in there. This is first argument is the array. Then N, the second argument is number of elements I have in the array. Let me use int M. So we have to initialize our variables. I know I told you guys we have I, we have J, we have term. We separate all with comma and end with semicolon. Then enter a for loop. For I, now I told you guys that I will start from index 1. For I equal to 1, and I is less than n. I is less than n, number of elements I have in the list, and I plus plus. In the example I gave you guys, I had 3 elements in my array. You get, and index 0 was assigned to J. You get, while index 1 and 2 we are assigned to I. Therefore, I is less than the total number of elements, which is n, we have in the array. I have 3 elements in the array, but in I assigned 2 elements to I. I removed the first element, which is I removed it, and I named it as sorted list. So I is less than total elements in the array. I shouldn't be greater than. Do you understand? Or equal to. I shouldn't be greater than or equal to. So then in my for loop, TMP, and I told you guys that TMP is like a pointer that will be pointing to the unsorted list. So equal to A of I. Then, because each statement you make, you have to end each statement with a semicolon. Then J, now I told you guys that J is equal to 0. J is equal to, which is I, minus 1. No, end with a semicolon. Then we have to enter a while loop for J. While J, now I told you guys that J is equal to 0. J is greater than or equal to 0. It's greater than or equal to 0. And A of J should be, if it's greater than temp, while A of J is greater than TMP, then inside this array, therefore, if A of J is greater than TMP, then A of J plus 1 is equal to A of J. Then we have to decrement J minus minus. Let's end this with a semicolon. End this with a semicolon. You can see that this code tallied with the explanation I gave you guys. Let me go back to my table and to my whiteboard and explain this. Let me go back to my whiteboard. I said in my while loop, I say J is greater than or equal to 0. This is J. I just step from 0. It is greater than or equal to 0. And our J, array of J is here in the sorted list. Like 4. If 4 is greater than 1, do you understand? Therefore, A of J plus 1. Do you understand? Which means that you have to write shift. You have to write shift this A of J. Therefore, A of J plus 1 will now be equal to A of J. You get? So, but like here now, when I have 5, I had 5. I had 5. Compared it with what I have in my sorted list, and this is that 5 is greater than what I have in my sorted list, which means that my while loop is no longer true. Therefore, A of J plus 1 will now be equal to TMP, which means that I have to write shift. I have to left shift this instead of shifting it. Yet, so let's go back to my. Let's go back. So then you close the while loop. Then it's not like saying if this what I have in this while loop, if it's not true, that is if A of J if O of J is not greater than TMP, then therefore A of J plus 1 will be equal to TMP. Then we close. Then we have to create a function for printing. Let's name it void print. To have the same thing, I have the same argument, int A and int N. So I have to initialize I. So I enter a for loop for, because I'm printing, I have to print from index 0 to the last index. So for I equal to 0, I is less than N. I is less than N, and I plus plus. Then we have to use printf. In Python, we use print in Python. We use printf in C language. %d. If you want to have a new line, include a new line. Then I'm printing A of I. We're printing A of I. Then we have to close our brace. Then let's go to the main function. Int main In our main function, we have to initialize our array. In our array, we have in our list, the list you want to modify, you want to arrange in ascending order. In our list, I have used a curly brace. I have this. I want to arrange this. I already told you guys the benefit of creating a function. You can always call your function. Like here now, I'll call these two functions, insert function and void, insert function and print function. I'll call it here in this my main function. I will call the function here. So int m, the length of the array is equal to size of the array, size of the whole array divided by size of array, maybe the first index. So what I mean here is, this is an array of integers, and integers, each integer has 4 bytes. You get? So size of A is like, let's assume, in the example I gave you, I had three elements. So size of A is like 4, because each element has 4 bytes. 4 times 3, which is 12. All over size of the first element of the array. So the first element of the array has, all the elements of the array has 4 bytes each. You can even say first element of the array, which is 0, first index 0, or you can, and if I want, I can use index 1, I can still get the same result. You get? So it's just like now 12 divided by 4, which is 3. And this sums up to the number of elements I have in the array. If it's 4, assuming I have 4 elements in the array, it's now 4 times 4, which is 16. 16 divided by, so now be 16 divided by 4, which also give me 4. You get? So this is it. Then we now call the function. We call the insert function, insert A and N. Then we also call the print function, A and N. Then return 0, and let's run our code. Just so there's no mistake in this code, let's run this code. Sort.c. There's an error somewhere. And no, I just said int. I should use int n. So I didn't declare it. I should have this int n. I skipped n. So here, it should be int n. You can say I wrote int instead of int n. That's why it gave an error. No more error. So let's now compile this code. Let's compile this code. So let's print it in our output. Let's name this, let's say sort. So let's execute. You can see it arranged my list. It arranged it in ascending order. So we can also do this in Python. So to code this in Python, let's create a file in Python. So in sort.py. So I told you guys to create a function in Python and use the def keyword. Def insert. Our array, we use A as to initialize our array. We use A as the name of the variable for our array. So here, so let's use A. I missed something. A colon. Then in our array, and say for loop, for I in range, I told you guys that I equal to 1. In range 1 to length of A. No, I missed this again. Length of A. Then I told you guys that temp is equal to A of I. Exactly the same thing I did in C. You can compare the two, place the two side by side and compare. I minus 1. Then enter a while loop for J. While J is greater than or equal to 0. And in C language I used this. for and, but in Python we used A and D and. Write it in full. And A of j is greater than TMP. Then if this is true, therefore A of j plus 1 is equal to A of j. Then you decrement j by 1. You know, in C language, I did this. I use this to decrement. So in Python, what am I doing? In Python, you don't do this in Python. It's equal to minus equal to 1. This is same as saying j equal to j minus 1. That's the same thing. So, come out of the while loop, then this is else a j plus 1. Because if the while loop is not through, if you see it to be true, therefore a j minus 1 is equal to TMP. Then that's all. Let's now go and call our function. Let's put our list. A is equal to, in Python you use square braces to create your list. So I have this as my list. So let's arrange this in descending order. Let's now call our function insert. It takes only one argument, which is A. Then let's print. We want to print A. So let's run the code. So let's Python 3 sort.py. I just hope there's no mistake. Sort.py. Sort.p. You can see it arranged it 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Arrange what I have in my list. So you can still give this a try. You can see how easy Python is. That is why, frankly speaking, I prefer coding in Python. Python is always easy. But it depends on your choice. Some people prefer C. Some prefer Python. So if you love my video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.